Once upon a time, there was a small railway on the Isle of Peter. The small railway had a small steam locomotive. His name was Roger. Roger had just completed his overhaul, and now he's taking a rest. The railway didn't have much. It had 3 passenger cars and 3 ballast wagons. The railway only stops 3 miles at a station named Roger. The railway is a heritage line, the second being built on the island. The ruined castle was the hallmark of the railway, and it brought lots of tourists. Then the controller came. He was in his mid-30s and brought his kids around. The 2 boys, one 5 years old and one 3 years old, wanted to ride in Roger's cab, but it wasn't time yet. The new fireman and Mr. Kerwin were Roger's driver, his new crew. They were kind and told the little Avonside that he'll be joining with another steam locomotive around 9 or 10 a.m. "What's his name?" Roger asked his crew. "His name is Britomart. He now lives at the Feston York Railway," they told him. What they didn't tell him was that Britomart had arrived yesterday while Roger was asleep, when the steam was building up and his axles were greased. He went onto the line. The tracks felt new and smooth. He looked to his right and saw a light blue quarry Hunslet. "That must be Britomart," he muttered to himself. "Hello," he said to the Hunslet. "Hello," said Britomart. "You'll be joining me for today?" he asked the locomotive. "Yes, only 2 days," he told the little Avonside. "I heard about you before. Didn't you work on the little narrow gauge line at the Isle of Man?" "Ah," he said quietly, "those were my old times. I used to operate on an industrial line to haul passengers before the Isle of Man." "Do you have a coach?" he asked Roger. "I have my very own coach," he said softly. "Her name is Mary. She's a very good passenger coach. She would have a full consist with 2 coaches. The passengers would say what a lovely railway we have. Before the Isle of Man, kids would travel on her back at England, and she'd be really happy. We were really popular, and many passengers would want double rides and pay extra. But I do miss her after the railway was closed. She disappeared now, and I don't know where she is." "Do you think she's scrap?" asked the little Hunslet. But before he answered, Roger's driver and fireman came and told Roger that he's ready to operate the very first train. The station was big, and there were lots of people. The coaches were instantly full. The guard blew his whistle and went off onto this new railway. "That's nice," he told his driver and fireman. As they went through the fields with people playing, it also reminded Roger about his railway, where he would see the sea and the passengers would look out of their seats, or back at Britain, where he saw fields and houses. He arrived at Roger, and people would get off and have a cup of tea and scones. Many of the enthusiasts would take photos and talk to his driver and fireman. Roger went onto the turntable and was turned around to face the front. The guard blew his whistle, and Roger puffed off at the station. When Roger arrived at the main terminus, the passengers told him what a lovely railway he had and would come back for more. Roger felt happier that the passengers loved the ride and would come back again. And his old owner would say to Roger, "We'll be ready for the next time," he would say. And Roger closed his eyes and remembered the many memories that they had and the new ones they would make.